Welcome to His Story for His Glory. As you watch and listen, I pray that the Holy Spirit encourages you on your journey in life and comforts you as you continue to walk by faith and not by sight.
Southeast San Diego. That's where I was born and raised. And if anyone knows anything about Southeast San Diego, it is the hood. It's where the wrong side of the tracks are, right? And my family transported there from LA. Both my parents went to San Diego State, and they saw just the area in and of itself not being a good area. And so we moved. We moved to Temecula, Murrieta area, both my parents, myself, and my younger brother, because my parents wanted better for us than they have for themselves, which is most parents. We always want better for our kids than we have for ourselves. And so when we moved up to Murrieta, Temecula, I was probably about 10 years old. Always been in the church. My parents went faithfully, religiously. My dad was in ministry. He was in the choir director. He preached, and my mom as well. So we've always been in the church. And so when we moved up to Temecula, Murrieta, my dad decided to start a church. And so that was my true journey, my true beginning of being a pastor's kid. And as a pastor kid, that was hard because I am by nature rebellious. By nature, that's my nature, just go against all odds and just to do whatever it is that I wanted to do. So when you become a PK, all eyes are on you. It's stressful, it's pressure, it's hard, it's who's really for me, who's really got my back, who's really my friend, or I'd rather just do this because you think I'm gonna do it anyways, or I'd just rather live this way because you think I'm gonna live this way anyways. It was either you're perfect or I want to see you mess up. I don't want to see you be mess up. I want you to be perfect. So it was just struggles as growing up in the teenage years, and as a young kid, it was just a really hard struggle. And in that, my rebellious nature showed its head. As a teenager, I graduated high school, not really knowing what it is that I wanted to do. School was not my best thing. I did not love school, but I didn't want to just not do anything. So in a black household, you either going to school or you going to work, one of the two, right? So you can't just not sit around and do nothing. So I worked. At 18 years old, I graduated high school, and I worked until I figured out what it is that I wanted to do. But in the midst of that, in the midst of me trying to figure it out, as you graduate high school, you're a young girl, you're a young woman, and relationships begin to change. Your friends are off to colleges, or they're moving on, or they have their own relationships. And I felt isolated. I felt by myself. I felt like I don't really have anybody here for me. My friends are going off doing their thing, and I'm kind of stuck in this house, in this life. And so I began to just do what it is that a young girl do. I just was out there wilding out. And I became pregnant at 19 years old. And that's when the journey truly started for me. That's when God really began to mold me and shape me into who He wanted me to be. I became saved young. I was at a kids camp, and I became saved at 14 years old. But saved and allowing God to be in your life are two different things. You can be saved and not walking with God. You can be saved and He can save you from hell, but Him not truly reigning in your life. So you have to understand that just professing Jesus as, yes, I love Him and I want Him, is different than living and walking and serving for Him. So I became saved at a young age, but I was not walking. It was just this flow. It was religion for me because I grew up in religion. I grew up in this is just what you do. So it was religion for me. But the time that I got pregnant at 19 years old was a time that I had to take a step back and go, ooh, what's really happening here? I got kicked out of my house. My parents are more concerned about the opinions and ideas of church folks rather than their own daughter to me. it was difficult. So I had nobody to really rely on. So as I left and as I began to build my own life, it became about me and God at that point. It was like, well, here I am. Now it's time for me to build this relationship. So it was an up and down battle. It wasn't consistent. It wasn't a consistent growth. It was up and down. And I think my relationship really didn't begin with Jesus until 4 years ago. 4 years ago, my parents got a divorce after 33 years, and my life was shattered. These past 4 years have been the most challenging 4 years of my life, has been the most devastating 4 years of my life, because I realized that I valued my parents' opinion more than I valued God's. And with them separating and splitting, I no longer knew who they were, because everything they taught me as a young kid to live this life for God was void, because you now just made a choice to not live your life for God, to me. And so at that point, God had to be faithful. God had to just say, I love you in your stupidity. Because that's stupid, right? To go, God, you can't be real if you allow my parents to get a divorce. But he said, I'll love you anyways. He was patient with me. And in these last 4 years, I've grown more than my whole entire life of just knowing God. I've grown more in my times of going to church and being at church. And, you know, I had to grow as a single mom. I had to grow as a parent. I had to grow as a daughter. I had to grow as a Christian. I just had to grow and learn God for myself, right? And so with that, God has been taking me on this everlasting journey through losing my job 4 years ago, my daughter being molested 4 years ago, losing my home. There has been so much turmoil, and yet God has still been faithful. We have not gone without a meal. We have not gone without clothes. We have not gone without anything. My daughter is still able to thrive through sports and academics. God has just shown himself time and time again. And so I have to encourage whoever is out there, single mom, mother, wife, whoever you are, and it seems like God has left you. It seems like God has deserted you, and he's not there, and he's not close, and you're crying out and you're asking. I remember I had just gotten out the shower and I was listening to a message, and I just cried, God, you gotta see me. You gotta see me, because this is hard. Just see me. That's all I was asking. I couldn't pray anything else. All I was asking, God, you just gotta see me. And he did. He began to turn situations around. He began to allow my businesses to grow. He began to bring people into my life that was encouraging and motivating and uplifting and directing me. He began to just show me that he has me. And so he has you too. He has you too. That no matter what the situation is, you have to trust God. You have to trust that he is not forsaking you. You have to trust that he loves you beyond a measure of a doubt. You have to trust that whatever it is that you're going through is for a bigger purpose. It's for you. And not only is it for you, but it's for someone else, because this is a snapshot of my story. This is a snapshot of what I've been through. But I know I didn't go through it alone, that I had to go through it so that I can share and give it and provide it so that other women know that it's possible. And so when I sit here and I look around and I think about where I'm headed, oh, I get so excited. When I think about where I'm headed, because I'm not there yet. Please believe I'm not there yet. Every day I have to surrender to God. Every day I have to ask God, you help me. Every day I have to say, I trust you. Every day I have to say, what's the next step? Because it ain't over. It is not over. And yet I know that my future is so much brighter than my past. Your future is so much brighter than your past. You don't have to live in the past. You don't have to stay there. Your mental doesn't have to stay there. Do you know that a lot of the things we go through is in our mind? We keep ourselves bound and tied in the strongholds because our minds and the enemy won't let us free. But if you wake up and you choose, today I won't do it, today I'm surrendering, today I'm trusting, then you'll start seeing progress. I have so much going on. It's amazing what God has began to do. That I had to lose my job so that he can take me to the next step. I had to lose my house so that I can be completely dependent on him. My parents had to get divorced so that I can surrender to him alone. My daughter had to go through what she had to go through so that she can learn to trust him. There's so much more to what we have to do because God has so much more for us. A lot of times we're holding on to this little bear and he's behind his back got a big bear and that he wants to give you. But you're saying, nope, I got this right here, God. I got this. This is good enough. And he's saying, but I got so much more for you. So I'm excited because I have launched my fitness business. I have launched my finance business, Awaken Transformation. I am the founder and the CEO of Awaken Transformation. Deals with your mind, your body, your finance, and your heart. Your mind, your body, your finance, and your heart. Holistically dealing with the person, because if one thing is out of alignment, all of it is out of alignment. If one thing is not right, you don't feel like you're right in anything. Depression is sneaky. You don't think you're depressed when you're walking around just handling business, but you go home and you lay down and you're like, man, what did I do today? What did I accomplish today? I remember my life being in shambles. It was just so messed up, and yet I was depressed. I couldn't clean my room. I couldn't clean my kitchen. I couldn't clean my car. My clothes were always messed up, and I'm just walking around life hoping that one day it would get better. But it's all in the mind, because it only gets better when you start doing better. It only gets better when you choose to get up. It only gets better when you make a mental choice to say, no more, this is it. You gotta know that God loves you, that he wants the best for you, that he cares about you, he cares about your issues, he cares about your family, he cares about your future. And he gives you a future of promise, of hope, of faith, of love. There's so much more. So I am just here to share a little bit of my story. I hope it encourages somebody to not give up, to continue each day, to love God with all of your heart, and to test him, because he won't fail you. If you put God to the test, he won't fail you.
Jontrice Wells is a dynamic woman of God and deals with the mind, physical body, finances, and the heart of a person through her business, Awaken Transformations. Through her company, she offers an array of financial products and services and offers education on financial literacy. She is a personal trainer and deals with the physical body to make sure you are healthy on the inside and out by just not targeting the outward, but as well as your mind and spirit. Her heart is to make sure that you are fit and healthy, spirit, soul, and body. To contact her, you can go to Jontrice Wells on Facebook or on wfgconnects.com/Jontrice Wells.